learn. Right, from small little mistakes, but you put them out there, and then you know what you need to work on, whether it's in math or reading or any subject in school, or just it was a real eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah, but just keep in mind, you and Stephanie are engaged, so there's a sales. Thank you. Putting your kid out there, you guys are their support when they fall.
Right.
We need to make sure that all the parents in the community not only do that, but they're there to support them. Failures do occur.
It's a pretty humbling experience, and it's a neat experience. I mean, you can't consider yourself the best unless you play the best.
Sure.
And learned a lot.
That's your.
That's my thought.
That was the deepest philosophical comments I've heard you say since about 4:30.
You're welcome.
John.
I'd just like to remind this Saturday, 7 o'clock, we are reigniting the Tony versus Columbiana football alumni game.
You
Oh
playing?
boy.
I'm not alumni of the Tony. I'm
This Saturday?
This Saturday.
Playing
Wow.
the season.
How long has that been going?
It's been going 10, 12 years.
Flag or tackle?
No.
Tackle.
Pads or no pads?
Thank
No
God I'm
pads.
from New Jersey.
They put pads on?
We have the oldest one
They
playing,
put pads on? That's awesome.
and Danny Guido. Danny said he wants to touch the ball at least twice. And he'll be happy.
Wow.
So, knowing from the
What?
past, it's always been but where's the toe at this year?
Where's it gonna be,
The
John?
toe's not kicking here.
It's here?
So how many EMS screwed? Okay.
One from each township.
No, we don't have the toe pick this year.
He's done.
You would let him.
He's done. No, he would never survive.
Well, Rich, your first chance to give us a little round table.
I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity and look forward to working with a great group of guys.
Oh, it's 1 month at a time, probation.
Okay.
No, just kidding. Welcome aboard. So. And I've got no other issues. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Do we have any
We
executive
said
session?
stay
executive
power. That
Executive
was
session?
awesome.
Jen, take the roll to adjourn?
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes?
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mr. Hendrick?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Sure.
Sugar party.
A long week for you. And it's just overwhelming. You went there, we were parking like it was the Memorial Day Parade. You're parking way down. Yeah, and it was just an amazing time, and people didn't want to leave. I'll tell you what, we sat down, people didn't want to leave, and you summed up with, I wish I would have, I hope Kevin wrote it down, I could read it, what you said was exactly right. It was just great. And the VFW paid for all of that. I think there was like 450 hot dogs, the chips, the soda, the drink, the water.
And their workers did it too. We didn't have to clean up.
We didn't do anything clean up. They put up the PA, we were there so long, they're taking it down, we're still there talking to them. And I just can't say thank you enough.
Will we send him a letter of thanks?
Yes.
Cheryl's working on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, John asked us to.
Yeah.
Wait, this was in the bonfire?
No, this was Meet the Bears.
Okay.
And we're
We're
working on
getting
that
the
mic.
bonfire, too.
And I'm trying to get a mic for the bonfire too, yes. Because that sometimes you can only hear if you're right next to the speakers. But thanks to the Washingtonville VFW. We started off the school year with 2 excellent teacher and service days. And we're excited about Monday for the first, when students arrive for their first day of school. It's Monday. We're just sleeping in.
Yeah,
We have to talk about
The perfect again.
And we're going to reconvene the safety committee hopefully in September when things die down. But we placed room numbers, we talked about that already in the earlier board meeting, at the exterior windows and larger numbers at the doors. But we also are in the process of upgrading adding cameras as well as adding some keyless entry doors to the interior so that we can lock down the elementary. So sometimes when the high school leaves and they float down this way, or someone can float down this way, if we put a fob on that door, at that time we can lock it, and parents will have to check in, make sure they check in. Just some more security measures. But as we talk about that, we kind of put on the back burner about the front door attendance last year. we tried to look at 2 half-time positions, and I think it was costing the district about $15,000 the way we had it set up. And it's just something we kind of put on the back burner because of safety grants, the fact of they talked about levies for security, what direction you want to go. We had a great presentation with Dan Valentine and John Saldana here for one of the in-service. They talked about ALIS training, informed our staff what it was, and to see if we want to tweak our lockdown procedure. But it's something I think we need to discuss. I know that this may not be the time and place how we want to do this, but the other thing I have for discussion is in the parking lot in front of the school, in the parking in front of the school. We talked briefly at other board meetings about signs, because it's hard to get safety vehicles up that lane
Right.
when you're parked
Yeah.
all the way down the lane.
I complained about that from day one.
So, we did have a sign made up, and I was gonna bring it to show to you, and they would say, no parking violators will be fined and towed, and they would be all the way down the lane, and that would give us the opportunity to do that, to tow all private properties. So, that's all I had.
What's not legal?
Any discussion?
I wanted to
Start with Michael, since he's.
I'm gonna be, twofold question. The $15,000, I know before with some emails or phone calls, we talked about perhaps where we could be creative and try to come up with that money. And probably the second bigger question is, has there been any news from the state in the last 30 to 60 days of funding for 2014?
Well, they passed a safety bill, but it's one-time money. So you could
We like one-time money.
put.
Yeah, one-time money's
You
good.
could put that in, well, and it's first come, first served.
So we should do it now.
Well, it's September, it's coming out.
How much are we talking for one time? 8
There's no limit, I don't think.
Yeah, I read a little
To
bit
be
about
spent
it.
on what?
It has to be on
Safe.
safety upgrades to
Cameras.
the school.
The doors.
3 new school buses, that's safety.
Cameras, the doors, those types of
Safe
things.
driver.
No, so let me ask you, one-time money, but can you structure a one-time plan to hire a person and upfront they get 3 years' worth of pay and they're in the position? Or,
See, I haven't looked at the actual details
They
of the bill
released
when it
the whole
comes
lot
to
yet.
salary.
Yeah.
So that's something we're gonna have to
They
check into.
released the money and how to apply in September.
because I want to work in the rules as best we can to maximize.
Well, the nice thing is the senator from Canfield is the one that has the bill, so, and I've spoke with him once
Is she-
about it.
is that Siobhan?
Shivani,
Yeah, Shivani.
so we can talk to him about it
Because we
too.
talked about that front gate for a year and a half now. So,
Well, we've been recommended for it.
where are we at? When are we?
Yeah.
It's been, yeah, we've been.
We've been recommended.
Where are we at with the collective 5 of us on hosting a person there full-time during the school year?
Well, if it could be paid for the safety thing, I'm on it right now, I mean, that's the only question, is where are we getting the money, If it could be from there, that's great.
Like I said, that'll be out in September. The guidelines and procedures.
For the next meeting then? It'll be,
I should.
so we
Should.
can get that next meeting, if it's
Should.
something, okay. Is there other things that we could buy with that money? Should we be getting ready for it? We have a month, I mean, how about extended cameras? I mean, like they said, get on the front, I mean,
There's a lot of possibilities.
a lot of possibilities. And could you, this sounds crazy, but, could you possibly do something to get like a gator for the school, so you would have like not only Russ, or if there's someone in public safety or someone in the front door that could go around the building, how, do you have a gator? Do we need another gator?
Really looking.
It's one-time money.
I never shop for Rulies, what do you mean a gator?
Yeah, but the little carts.
Oh, you mean a John Deere gator?
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not yet.
No, it's
Not like one of the
I'm thinking
portable
of
ones that
gates,
go like-
no gates, but are there any other things where you can like lock down half the school and automatic lockdowns of the facility?
Facility, like the
Or-
locks,
or-
locks to go into, like,
Or build a safe room, or if there's money that's available, I wanna know what options we have. You know, take them all downstairs to the basement, lock down that basement, that's useless.
Well, there is, it's funny, there was a thing on the news, and I think they're out of Akron or Camden, they specialize in bulletproofing schools. It was just on the news, and that's what, everything, they can bulletproof everything. Windows, mirrors, whatever you want bulletproof, they can, doors, mason block. I mean, you know, they have still sheets that you could put in. I don't, and curiosity is, when you get extensive of that, does that affect the fire guidelines?
You gotta remember too, that, you have to remember that with the, and we haven't made a decision yet, but with the hours training, part of that is to get out of them.
Right. Not to stay in the
Not to
building.
stay and be a sitting duck, you know, break the window, to do things. Okay, so, you know,
We need a nice workshop.
Yeah.
We talk about it.
Yeah, and you know, and like I said, Chief and Danny did a great job in the presentation, he has the staff. I can bring them in for a workshop.
Was the union excited about something like this?
You know, everybody I talked to said it was the best 2 in-service days we've had in a long time. They have a couple sets since they've been here.
Really?
Dan did a good job. Excited is, there's some apprehension, and I can see why, because you're the first line of defense. You know, and you put your students
A
there.
little nervousness.
Yeah, a little nervous of that, but all we did was introduce, say, hey, you know, we work as a team, we're gonna introduce what's out there. This is the new,
The old way was to hunker down, and then the Ellison way is to exit the building, so
well,
there's.
like if we're in the building here, and there's a shooter, instead of saying code blue, and say, tell everybody what's going on. There's a shooter in room 211, can you lock this and get all these students out of here, rather than them coming down the hall.
And that's sort of one of the things we talked about when we were originally doing, you know, upping the security after the problem over the holidays, is the door lock. Because if you had, like the way your doors are throughout the whole building, if you had a door lock on the bottom of the door either way, you could prevent the door from opening, and it would be very cost efficient. It would be a simple, cost efficient thing
Right.
to either lock, you know, if say if the shooter was in a room, if you wanted to lock him in that room like you said, so everyone else could get out, well, there's no way your arm's gonna go down there and move that lock. You know, or vice versa. If he's
Right.
outside, at least this way you can go, you know, buy yourself a minute so everyone gets out of the building.
Sure.
And that wouldn't be
We're
something
gonna
that
steer
we
them towards intervention.
Well, I mean, if there's those, I mean, we could figure out how many, 200, 300 doors times how many ever locks, and petition for that too. You know, and at least Russ can have it and install them at its convenience, you know, a couple here, a couple
No, and that's
there.
why it's intriguing when she said, there's no limit.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Let's
you
list
gotta-
down
you
some
gotta be
dreams
creative
and
and
then
write it.
get what we can get.
but if it's first come, first served, and we only have a month for us to all to throw some emails around with each other and throw some ideas out, because I would imagine, unless the school board's sleeping, they're gonna, you know, this will be gone by Halloween.
Oh, yeah, by that
Yeah.
time.
By the inner city school, or the village.
All right, okay, I don't have anything, you wanna go around the table?
Any, let's go, well, that was the start of open discussion with Michael. Mr. Easton.
I had the opportunity to, and this is just kind of overseeing kids, I had the opportunity to watch my daughter perform in SF tryouts, 3 or 4 tryouts. And it was, I had no contact with her. I could observe, but I had no contact with her. It's a very eye-opening experience if you do it with an open mind. And whatever your child does, or a child does, whether it be music, recital, or something like that, I think it's always good to put them under a little bit of that pressure to perform. Because I saw some things that were very good, I saw some things that were not very bad, but, you know, negatives. I guess my point is, a lot of us don't put ourselves, or maybe even our siblings or our children in those positions because fear of failure. But failure to prepare is preparing to fail in life later on. And it was just, I guess the advice is put your kids out there and make them and let them perform, because they will. And you know where you stand. What's that?
You can,
$125 from the Italian American Club for the football supplemental fund, and the following were from the Legion: $250 for football t-shirts, $200 for 8th grade cheerleader warm-ups, $200 for golf t-shirts. And the donations from the VFW in Washingtonville were $250 for the football supplemental fund and $100 for the golf team supplemental fund. And we're going to approve Shakely once again as our workers' comp and TPA for unemployment for $490, which is actually a savings from last year.
it's the same thing.
Same thing, just cheaper price. They lowered their price.
Good deal.
We have a motion for 7A through D.
Motion.
Hey, Jim, real quick question, and I know you've been, 3 years now, but are these numbers the same? Do we start to collect the same amounts of donations? Are we getting more?
We seem to be getting more.
I thought so.
Yeah.
You got almost $1,200 on the table right here between those two, so hats off to both.
And is it unsolicited, or do we have an effort to campaign
Well,
for needs?
Usually with the clubs, we have to actually request donations from them because that's the way that they do it. So as long as, and they like to give to us, they have told
Yeah, well-
Mr. McElduff,
Some of them, according to the Constitution, they have to.
they have to.
Well, and also, it helps us keep our budget from raising every year, correct? I mean, doesn't this sort of help?
A lot of them are for extracurricular activities, so that it does help sports or like student council and things like that, so.
And the only reason I ask, short of the grant process, is there something in between where there's larger entities or groups that might also be an opportunity to solicit some additional? We
Well,
might try to stand out a little bit beyond our
Most
area.
of that solicitation's done through Yearbook. They solicit a lot of the bigger companies and groups. Now, remember too, with the, sports ads, there's a wide variety of companies that place ads in the
Okay.
football programs.
That's fair.
That's where most of them, the football
Yeah.
one is the one that takes in the most,
Right.
so.
All right, thank you. we did do the final. Okay,
You know,
public
that was
participation.
you voted on.
We have to vote.
No.
Discussed it.
Oh, that's fine. Let's do
Yeah,
the roll
there's
call.
2 more on the other side.
Oh, is there 2 more?
Yeah, that's what I saw, the
Okay.
cheerleading.
Oh, yeah, the middle school cheerleader and the junior class activity budget too, we need to approve.
Sorry, we already made the motion.
Sorry.
We'll let it sit.
Sorry.
Backtrack.
No more discussion, can we call the roll?
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Eastick?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Hendrick?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. Was there any public participation?
No.
All three of you, have you all three waived your interest in publicly participating? Okay. Now let's move on to old business.
None. No student achievement reports, I'll go to new business. I'll start with A 1 through 7 for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion, the parliamentary May was approved at the last meeting for the remainder of this year, and then their contracts are up, so we're going on. And once again, that's not an addition, that was Cheryl Thorne's position. To replace.
Question, as far as the cook position.
Okay.
These are all the renewals?
Yes, what happened was, we hired Bruce Cerrone as
Secretary.
the secretary, and
So
she was
her-
6.5.
Her position was taken over by Joanne Moore.
And that's number 3, and then Joanne's position by Karen Reed, number 4, and then the employment of Sharon Morrow as the oncoming position.
Okay, so
That's
are all
not
cook,
happened.
are all cook positions filled then?
No, they're all filled.
Okay, we're done then.
We're done.
Okay.
And I will say that there's quite an interview process. I know that Russ and Yvette works for nutrition. We've had Russ as a supervisor sitting in the interviews. They interviewed probably
We probably had 25 candidates.
how many applicants do we have?
We had about 50 applicants.
About 50 applicants.
Wow.
For a
For
3-hour
half-
job?
For
For the
3.5
cook position.
hour cook
For the
position.
3, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They did a lot of interviewing and
Like, it's not as good as people
A lot
say.
of moms, a lot of single moms.
So, that's all the discussion. I have any questions?
We're thinking,
No.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm not waiting.
So that's A through C, you good?
That's A 1 through 7.
Oh, we're gonna just,
Yeah,
As we go to
we have to
the-
B and C yet.
As we do this next,
Yeah.
yeah.
we didn't get a motion. Let's get a roll call. Motion was called.
Yeah, Mike and John. I
Yeah,
just
we
asked
already
you.
seconded.
Okay, well, I was trying to just keep track of A, B, or C.
Okay.
Can we call roll?
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Hendrick?
Yes.
Mr. Eastick?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Now you know what it's like.
You wanna do B and C together?
Yes, yeah,
Because we're overworking our
and Mr.
stuff.
Hendricks, if I have some discussion, I'll do it by itself, but if it's something I usually do 7 at a time. B and C and, yes, B and C together. Is that I have,
Motion.
Second.
Anybody with discussion or questions? They're all straightforward, or carry over.
Carry over, these
Yeah.
contracts.
Okay. Roll call, please, Jane?
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Eastick? Ms. Hendrick?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. Motion on D. You'd like to explain it?
You, yeah, good motion on D.
Just D.
I actually do all the way D through.
Okay, we're
F.
gonna look for a motion on D through F, and then RB can kind of walk through it after the motion.
Motion.
Every year I get confused on how this works.
So there's a second.
That's fine.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
This confuses me. Transportation contracts, we're talking Heartland Christian, Cardinal Mooney, St. Paul's. How does that work again? The state pays us and then we pay them, or how, is that?
We actually pay them in advance, and then we file a T2 in the summer, and we get the money back when we file the T2.
Is it a complete even whitewash, or
Yeah, it's no cost to us. It's in and out.
Okay.
But we're sending out the amount it would cost for us to bus that student in here.
Yes.
Not the cost of taking the student all the way to Cardinal Mooney.
Correct.
But whatever money we would get for busing them, we're just gonna give it to Cardinal Mooney instead of us taking it.
Per
but we're-
student, right, per student.
Yeah, per
There's a rule
student.
of them now.
I just wanna know how it's calculated.
Is there a lot of
The
them?
destination calculation or the?
There's a set amount by
Set
the
amount.
state.
Okay.
And the minimum amount is usually what we give the parent to transport the student, because if not, we would have to transport them ourselves, and
Right.
it's much easier just to give the parent the money to transport
It's a
them.
flat rate.
Right.
It's a, yeah, flat rate.
Okay.
The open enrollment, the lunch prices, which I believe we talked about several board meetings ago. And once again, Mrs. Duker is going to, eighth graders love it. She does a great job, her and Mrs. Barrett from Washington DC.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't see the list of open enrollment ins and outs.
We had, you just put it in here?
The
And I know we got
list-
two more, there was one or two, I saw
Yeah.
something late this afternoon.
Yeah.
So we had a couple more.
It's still changing.
It's still, it's 11D? Okay, I'm at 11D.
Has the seesaw gone in our favor yet?
No.
No.
No, last year was the closest, it was I think 112 to 98.
Yeah.
As close as we've been, because when we first started looking, when I first started, at least, I know Kurt was bigger on this, and we were talking about, we were 40 to 45, almost 50 now. We haven't seen that, and we're not quite there, we're 28.
Well, bringing
Yeah,
the units in
yeah.
has helped a lot.
Yes.
That's good, because then the pendulum's in the right direction. You know, if
Right.
a couple years ago you were 50 down and you can keep it in the teens or the single digits even better, then we're moving in the right way.
I can't get to 11D3 because 11D2 is so long.
And
And that could change, right? I mean,
Oh,
you have
it
the
already
next-
changed.
I know I
It changed
choose-
today.
I saw it today.
It changes every day.
All depends on the phone, huh? Gotcha.
My question, do we need to, it's too late now for this year, but do we need to start building a marketing campaign, sell it?
I think we did a couple of years, and I think it worked well. We did
Yeah.
some commercials, we talked about making phone calls, and I think we should follow up with that. But yeah, I definitely do think that we should continue, get back to that.
Well, I
We
hate-
kind of started it, get back to it.
I hate to go on RB's thing, but you know, the district has changed. Unfortunately, we're one of the fortunate districts that don't have to deal with the red around us every day, that we're in the black and not the red. But once again, RB mentioned, in Ballet, who's a local Letonia, he could come in here and he works for TV 27. This year, Jackson Milton went into TV 27, they said, we want a TV campaign like Letonia did with you. So I don't know if you saw, I think it was right around Easter, Jackson Milton hit for 2 months with a TV campaign. That was a direct correlation of our campaign from, well, that's 2 years ago at least, isn't it? Yeah, 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago.
So, I mean, that's sort of cool being ahead of the curve. We
I was
could revisit
thinking-
it, we could redo.
I was thinking,
Definitely visit that.
instead of there's this pair of real gangly brothers trying to advertise vegetables, you could probably get some real stellar students out there trying to sell the same vegetables and wearing Latonia shirts.
You could do that, that would be good.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, that's your, oh.
Stucker's gone though, he would have been tall enough.
Very good. All right, no, I'm just curious about trying to set up a plan to really pull more in with some marketing skills, so.
Right, and I know that Kurt was a real proponent and leader in that several years back, and maybe something that we need to sit down and really be conscious about.
Oh, me,
Yes.
me as a third party.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Are we good then? We need to vote.
yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Eastick?
Yes.
Ms. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Goodyear, correct,
Presidente Jennings.
Okay, superintendent's report, real quick. Didn't have anything at first, but I told Kevin it was a short meeting, so I'd try to find something quick to do. Just wanted to say, I got to go to the VFW last night in Washingtonville for the Meet the Bears. And I know Cheryl was there, Mr. Eastick was there.
A ton of people there.
And it was, that's what I want to say, it was unbelievable. I mean, Mike touched on it, and I want to just reiterate what he said, that the passion and enthusiasm.
Alexander Haig.
I'm in charge. I'm in charge.
Well, that puts me back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Back a little bit.
Really?
Hey, I got a little tidbit of history.
He was the first president I voted for.
Who?
Hey.
What was that? That was in the mid-70s, so you only had a choice with Carter. I mean, come on.
No, it was.
Did you vote Carter?
Dukakis, Reagan.
Right.
Oh, that was, okay, late 80s football.
Did you do Geraldine?
That was my first election.
No, that was before me.
I sort of thought Geraldine was hot a little bit.
Sarah Palin was.
Yes, sir.
She was.
Is it
It's
6:30?
still
yet?
is.
Geraldine's first and 6:30 yet. Come on.
I don't know who Geraldine is.
Geraldine Ferraro.
Oh.
First woman ever
You
run.
have to remember, the first election I voted.
All right,
was
in
Bill
fairness, Jeb Bush is hot too. No, just a. So it's not a gender bias.
Actually,
Wow.
Okay, guys.
This is a little
Well, you might become the commissioner of
I didn't want to be
baseball.
gender biased here.
I know.
Gender.
Kurt.
The official WRMU doesn't start until
Yeah, I was gonna
board meeting.
Kevin, put that pen away.
W might become the commissioner of
He's
baseball.
testing the camera right now.
Really?
George W.
Are you serious?
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you hear Barb Bush?
Wait, what?
He's kind of in the running for the commissioner of baseball.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They asked Barb Bush on some morning show. She thought about Jeb running next. She said, "No,
Keep
you
right-
know, he's the most qualified, but we've had enough Bushes in office." One more. That's what she said.
Take that, Jim.
There goes the
Not for
Democratic
you.
talking point.
No. You might be the youngest son, but you're not the favorite anymore.
I don't know, I can't see their clock. It's
Wait, let me turn my phone off.
Okay, it's 6:30.
Hold on, let me turn the phones off.
I got
You
said,
have
you know,
great
Barack,
mind.
I mean, Barack aged 20 years
You got
ago.
what?
6:30.
It would be
Okay.
rude to all of my
We're good.
Delphi groupies. Hold on, we got 6:29.
Yeah, I gotta turn off my silent vibrator.
Yeah, everyone vibrate.
Oh, do you want me to say this? Call to order, pledge
that
of
right?
allegiance.
Sure. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Janet, can you take a roll call, please?
Okay. Mr. Eastick?
Present.
Mr. Rowley?
Here?
Mr. Ryder?
Good.
Mr. Jennings?
I need a motion to elect the officers for the balance of 2013.
I would like to nominate Kirk Jennings for president.
Second.
And I would like to move that motion be closed. Nomination.
Second. I'll second the closure.
I oppose family. Okay, you don't vote?
Make him take a lie detector.
Take a roll on that?
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Eastick? Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
I abstain. Can I get a motion for the office of vice president? I will nominate John Ryder.
I'll second.
That's what you get at the post office.
Any discussion or roll? Let's have roll on that.
And that's one.
Do we have a
Mr.
motion to
Jennings?
close that?
Yes.
Mr.
Just need one.
Eastick?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Why don't we need a motion to close that? We need a motion to close the first.
Good luck.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Did I read this bit? Jennifer have an answer.
That's you.
I-
That's president.
I'd like to approve the appointment of Richard Hendricks to serve as the board member through December 31st, 2015. This is to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of board member Doug Jones. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Discussion?
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
I'm gonna guess it's one of the 4 people like that.
Stand up, Richard.
I will say that, having been involved with the 9 candidates that expressed tremendous interest, all of them were quite dedicated and enthused to have a chance. We then narrowed down, after 10 minutes of speaking with each, which wasn't enough, I know, but we had to limit it. We narrowed down to a smaller pool of what we thought were the 4 most likely candidates. And then the 3 of us, John was ill at the time, unfortunately, we spent a half hour more with each of the 3, and each of the 4 candidates, and we really looked at all the qualities, attributes, everything that they would bring to the board for the next 2 years. And quite honestly, you could throw a dart at any of the 4 names, and we would have done well for the district. And quite honestly, any of the other 9, or other 5 that weren't invited back would not have done bad for the district. So, at the end of that process, it just came down to having to make a decision. And the selection of Mr. Hendricks, by no means is a negative mark on the other 3. There's no need to give you the names of the other 3 that came close. They know who they are. But based on this, I would like to welcome Mr. Hendricks to help serve us for the next 2 years, 4 months.
Thank you. Yes, welcome, sir.
Yeah, we have to actually vote on it, so you can't say thank you.
Okay.
I do want to add, though, I think one of the hardest decisions the board had to make, especially when you got to the Final Four. I don't want to do like a basketball thing, but I mean, it was really, that the Final Four was extremely difficult.
Well, you know what, the hard part of calling everybody, and I don't know why you guys didn't step up and volunteer.
Because you're the president.
Vice President.
Suit up.
You never want to
President
deliver,
waiting.
and it's not bad news if it's, of course, it's not life and death news, but you don't want to deliver that news, and everyone I talked to was very conciliatory and appreciative of our process. They didn't even think they'd get a chance to talk.
Oh.
And the second level process, they love the opportunity to talk more. So I think that might be a good precedent if we ever have to do this process.
And to add one last thing, I think not only the 4, but the 11 that were present, all 11 of them, and I think you sort of touched on them, it shows, the whole group shows the passion that's still in the district. You know, all of them were dynamic, the last 4 were exceptional, but I mean, all of them were dynamic, and all of them probably could have done a good job. But to have that much passion in the district shows that the district is alive, and most importantly, we're growing, we're not shrinking.
Right.
We're, you know, and for a while we were curious, but the tree's grown again and full steam ahead.
And just to get
First 11, you have to remember these in Poland.
That's right.
Be careful, those kids from Poland.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. Okay.
That's it.
And just one last comment, just to point out, just to give you a little insight of what happened in our interview sessions, that we definitely gave them a chance to talk about why they're enthused about being on board. But we actually asked them to criticize what they knew of the current board, the last 5 or 6 years of activities. And it sounded like pretty much across the board, unless I'm forgetting something, across the board, everyone said they just wanted to be part of the momentum that they've seen really starting to take hold. That's not because of the board. I think in large part, Mino and the board have collectively worked, and Jen, so focused on the numerics of our budgets. The combination of everything we've done, I think everyone wanted to be part of it, so that was encouraging. So with that, I close discussion.
Okay.
Roll, please.
Okay. Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Mr. Eastick?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. So with that, Rich, we need to swear you in, and then you will sit upon the infamous board table.
Actually,
Jen,
you guys
is that
have
your
to
vote?
get, yeah, that's me, but you
Wait,
have
I
to
have
get
to-
sworn in too.
oh, because I'm a new
Because
person.
you're president and vice president.
Can you do it?
Wait, all 3 of us have.
I'm
to.
doing it all 3 at one time.
Oh, all 3?
All
Yeah,
you have
it's
to do
cheaper that way.
is just-
It's not I do this time, but
Great,
I will.
It's
We save a little bit of money here.
I mean, I would, but I didn't, just want to be honest about it.
I'm sure my husband wouldn't mind at all.
I didn't have an answer for
Okay.
you, so I don't know, that's why I
Do
called
you,
Jen.
Kurt Jennings, Sean Freitard, and Richard Hendricks solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as President, Vice President, and Board Member in and for the Leetonia Exempted Village School District, Columbiana County, to the best of your ability, in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is chosen and qualified.
Welcome to the board.
I thought you want that for an ad for you.
Vice President?
You actually did take the tie off, that was good.
President?
Oh, what?
Superintendent?
Yeah. The house guy did go up and all. Is my house, is it worth more?
We really just went down the line.
I'm President.
Went downhill.
I get a ELP on my license plate. All right. So I think we pass it on to Jen now.
Now you gotta approve the
You go to the
minutes.
minutes for the last one.
President?
I'm sorry it took so long. I take a motion to approve the minutes of last regular meeting on July 25th and the August 1st special meeting. Motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Pretty straightforward. Thank you, Michelle. Jen, call roll, please.
Mr. Eastick?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Ritter?
Abstain. I wasn't there last person.
Mr. Hendricks?
Abstain.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. We talked about it. All right, now let's move to number 7, the treasurer's report. Jen, you've got a whole bill of items, so go ahead.
Okay. Attached in the treasurer's report is bills, accounts payable, as well as board reports. The donations that we received last month were